NASCAR is heating up as we head back to Florida for Daytona weekend.
The big one happens behind them. Look at all these cars.
4 spots and 2 races left to lock into the Cup Series playoffs.
Stenhouse Jr. wins at Daytona.
Woo! America, 1776. We are the champs.
Betting, fantasy, and at-traction, we will cover it all coming up on Around the Track. Hey everyone, welcome to Around the Track, presented by Moultrie Mobile. I'm Jessie filling in for Kim Kuhn this week, alongside, as always, Ryan Flores. Ryan, thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for being here. Your first time at Around the Track, so I appreciate you filling in while Kim is in London listening to Taylor Swift. Hope she's having a good time, but I couldn't help but notice I was glued to my Flow Racing app on Wednesday, and you were at the modified race. How was that?
Yeah, that's right. The racing action started early this week, all the way on Wednesday up at Thompson Speedway. Second race for the modifieds there. Patrick Emmerling getting his first win of the season. And that was a big one because it was the first for that team, first with team owner Rick Gautreaux. So to see a new team owner come into that series and have success like that, it's good for the future of the sport.
Yeah, anybody that can compete with Justin Bonsignor and Ronnie Silk right now to come in to win their race, especially at Thompson, which is a staple to the modified series up there in Connecticut. It was awesome to see. I myself was stuck in Michigan. We saw Allgaier get the win there in the Xfinity race. That was crazy. Got one upside down. Another guy that got upside down, my buddy Corey LaJoie. We talked all about it on Stack and Pennies, so you can hear that.
Well, thankfully everybody is okay coming out of those 2 incidents, and the action will continue with just as wild of a race this weekend at Daytona. Let's take a look at the schedule ahead of us. All 3 series in action, but a little bit of a different order this weekend. Racing Under the Lights, the Xfinity Series on Friday. Then again on Saturday, Under the Lights, huge race for the Cup Series, the Coke Zero Sugar 400. And then on Sunday, the trucks will be in action, running on FS1, 4 p.m.
Yeah, let's talk about the trucks first. So they're going to Milwaukee. It's their only stop in Milwaukee, really only one of our top 3 series that goes to Milwaukee, but it's the start of their playoffs. What are you looking forward to out of the truck playoffs this year?
You know, I'm excited to see the truck playoffs because we always see a couple new faces here and there. Daniel Dye in particular, having a lot of eyes on him, being able to essentially jump that cut line to make his way in. But the trucks, having the amount of time they have in between races, that's what I'm going to be looking for. Which one of these teams can really hang on to that momentum and keep their head in the game for all 10 weeks?
Yeah, momentum's a cruel mistress, and with that big break, it can, you see Lowell's in it. Who can keep focused? The other guys that have to keep focused. Only 4 races left and 4 spots in the Xfinity Series to get into their playoffs. This race is sure to be a wild card.
It always is. Anytime you go to a super speedway, especially Daytona, especially with everything on the line with the playoffs, you never know what you're going to get, except for aggression. I guess you do know you're going to get aggression. But from your perspective on pit road, what do you think we're going to see out of this Xfinity field, knowing they still have a little bit of time before they're make it or break it?
A lot of Torp race cars. That's what I tend to see at this August race in Daytona. And like I said, there's a lot on the line. There's going to be some desperation. This is a place that a lot of these teams, even though there's 4 races left, this is a place that a lot of these teams have circled as a place where they can win. They don't think they can win maybe at Darlington or other tracks they go to. Another guy we'll be seeing if he can sweep the speedways this year is Austin Hill. But before we get to Daytona, as always, there's a ton of regional racing action. Let's take a look at what's going on. We see NASCAR Canada Saturday 5:15. Cars Tour at Wake County, their smallest racetrack, Saturday at 7:30. Then we have IMSA VIR, and ARCA is going to be a doubleheader with the Truck Series on Sunday at 1 p.m. But let's talk Cars Tour. You're going to be there this weekend. They had a barn burner of a race this past weekend at Ace. What are you looking forward to at Wake County?
I'm excited. Just the late model stocks is what I'm going to be covering for Cars Tour this weekend at Wake County. It's always exciting. Their season is getting down to the wire here. The championship points are close, so, but much like Daytona, anything can happen.
Yeah, the late model stocks, like you said, the racing has been great. Connor Hall leads that. Only 5 races to go. I think there's only 12 points. He's only 12 points ahead of Butterbean. Brent Cruz is right there. So, like we said, it is a barn burner, and it's getting good and down to it. Another one that's getting down to it is the ARCA Series. What are you thinking about ARCA coming up?
I mean, what we saw this past weekend just continues to prove how impressive these points leaders are, both in ARCA National and on the ARCA East side, in William Sawalich and Connor Zilic. I mean, Zilic, 4 ARCA starts, 4 ARCA wins. Continues to impress. The future of the drivers that we're seeing coming out of ARCA is exciting, and it's evident in that points battle.
Yeah, those guys continue to dominate with their wins this past weekend at Michigan and the Springfield Mile. Andreas Perez tries to hold that points lead as we move on as well.
Well, and then it's worth noting coming out of this past weekend in ARCA, a little bit of history made. 4 females in the field, all fielded by Venturini Motorsports. All 4 of them finishing in the top 10, 2 of them on the podium. That's huge.
Yeah, that was awesome to see. Isabella Robusto had a chance to win that race, and it was fun to watch. Taylor Reimers also finishing 3rd. So Venturini giving opportunity to the ladies, and it's great to see.
Continuing to push the ARCA series forward. Venturini Motorsports always gets it done over there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to see who gets it done this weekend at Daytona and who can punch their ticket into the Cup Series playoffs.
Casey Kane gets out of control. That's the field is going to be involved as they all wad him up.
The rain continues to fall here at Daytona International Speedway. They are calling this an official race. Eric Almirola is the winner.
Eric Jones has won at Daytona. William Byron's gonna win a secured spot in the playoff.
These guys have done an awesome job today and got us in the playoffs. It's amazing, man.
It's Austin Dillon who wins at Daytona.
They are going to the playoffs. Thank you, Jesus, baby. Yes!
Oh, Ryan, I tell you, if any of those guys are looking to get another win like that, it has to be that last guy, Austin Dillon there, hoping for redemption into those playoffs. Let's take a look at the schedule, though, this weekend at Daytona. No practice, just qualifying on Friday afternoon. And then, as I mentioned earlier, under the lights on Saturday, 7:30 p.m. for the Cup Series. 2 races left before we start the playoffs. This used to be the cutoff before we head into the first round, which is quite a wild card for the cutoff. But knowing now that we have a little bit of a cushion with Darlington, do you think that changes the desperation that we're seeing from some of the drivers in the field?
I don't think so, because these guys know that Daytona is their last shot. A lot of the guys, I think there's probably 15 guys below the playoff line. They have Daytona Circle because they know that they don't really have a chance at Darlington. And the other place that it's really exciting is not only at the bottom of the playoff cutoff line, it's at the top with the jockeying between the 45, the 11, the 9, and the 5 for the regular season championship, because there's 15 playoff points on the line there. So there's going to be a lot to watch for this weekend, and guys like Kyle Busch that are desperate to make it, they're going to be going all out.
Well, and to your point there about the regular season championship, coming out of this weekend at Michigan, we saw Kyle Larson drop from 1st to 4th in those standings, Tyler Reddick taking that 1st spot. That's 15 playoff points, like you said. That is huge. So even these guys that already know they have a solid playoff spot, they're still going to be out there battling for something at Daytona.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to race for at Daytona this weekend.
Well, no doubt about that, both on the Cup side and the Xfinity side. 4 races before they start their playoffs, and when it comes to super speedways, Austin Hill's the guy we're looking at in that series.
It's time to go racing here at Daytona. Crossover, that's Austin Hill in the 21. Big crash, up and over.
I believe Austin Hill's got this.
They get us going in 2023.
Don't look now, but that 21 has been coming on the top pretty fast.
Austin Hill, he's going to get the lead here soon.
To the middle of the 21. Oh, my goodness. Mayer is turned. He's upside down. The caution is out.
I think 21's in front.
And for a second consecutive season, Austin Hill is the season opener at Daytona. Off we go from the world's center of racing.
It's okay. The 2 car's pretty good.
3rd caution of the night.
Austin Hill caught up in it. I don't know if he's got any damage.
There goes Austin Hill. Georgia drivers got the hat trick at the world center of racing. Austin Hill gets it done.
As we look at Austin Hill's Daytona International Speedway stats, 6 starts, 3 wins, he's 50%, 125 laps led. It's pretty impressive, Jessie.
It's incredibly impressive, and seeing Austin Hill come out this season with a win at Daytona and then follow that up with a win at Atlanta, which, as we know now after the reconfiguration, runs very much like a super speedway, all eyes are going to be on him. But when you look at the stats, he hasn't had that same consistency in the summer race at Daytona. Ryan, why is that? What's the difference in the racetrack?
I think it just might be a little bit more a victim of circumstance. I think, super speedway racing, it tends to work out for Austin Hill in February, and it doesn't tend to work out for him in the summer. Another thing that I'm looking for, though, is that his teammate, Jesse Love, in the same equipment, is super fast. And Austin Hill has dominated some of these races, and he's lucked into a couple of them. But Jesse Love is nipping at his heels in the same equipment. He's got all the same data. We'll see if he's able to top his RCR teammate this weekend.
Yeah, the rookie in that series, he's already given his teammate a little bit of a run for his money there. Well, hey, and speaking of money, our betting expert Erica Davis is joining us here in just a second. Going to tell you where you can put your money this weekend on Easy Money with E.
So who is your best value pick for your fantasy league?
I've got Miles, my guy.
Yeah, we took a gamble this weekend.
Luck or the lack thereof. It's a big factor here today.
Listen to me out there, gamblers.
And big, baby.
It's time now for Easy Money with E. Joining me, our betting expert, Erica Davis. Erica, coming out of the weekend at Michigan. Chris Buescher, I know, was one of the names you mentioned. What did his top 6 finish get for us this week?
Well, a top 6 finish, Jesse, didn't get much for us, but him finishing as a top 10 finisher was amazing. He was minus 160 in that spot, and I was a little bit hesitant last week going there because it was kind of juiced, but luckily we did because that ended up putting some money in our pocket. Now, we also had another bet that hit if you took the straight bets. I did a cross-sport 2-leg parlay featuring the Detroit Lions, and they covered against the Kansas City Chiefs. So if you took that, you hit there as well.
Well, looking at this weekend, the unpredictability of Daytona is what's on everyone's minds. But how does that come into play when we're looking at the betting world?
Everyone should know by now that betting on super speedways is not the same kind of beast that betting on, let's say, short tracks, intermediate tracks, or even road courses is, because there is, as you said, Jesse, an air of unpredictability. So because of that unpredictability, bookmakers adjust the lines, they handicap the lines to make them longer than they would be in a normal or an average NASCAR race weekend. So you make more money, but only if your bet hits, of course. But that also means that there is greater risk. So how do we mitigate that risk? Well, I would say that to mitigate the risk in a super speedway weekend, instead of betting an entire unit in some spots, just decide to bet half a unit. Or you should just budget your overall bankroll. Instead of betting $50 on the entire weekend, maybe bet 25 or 30. But you walk into super speedway weekend knowing that you probably aren't going to win a lot of money. You just cross your fingers for a lucky outcome.
Well, that being said, then, this week, even more so than others, we're looking at you for your suggestions. What are we looking at going to Daytona when it comes to some outright winners?
The 2 outright winners that I'm looking at are Alex Bowman, and then I'm looking also at Corey LaJoie. Let's go back to Alex Bowman at plus 2,400. I always say this, but make sure you shop around because I've seen Bowman's odds at 2 different books as an outright winner at plus 1,800. But yes, I like him in the spot. He finished 2nd at the Daytona 500 this year. He finished 5th at Talladega this year. He finished 6th at this very race last year. That tells us about Bowman that he knows how to run well at a drafting track. Then I got Corey LaJoie in my bet slip at plus 5,000 as an outright winner. And as we know, under normal circumstances, this would typically be on the longer side of the betting board, but because of super speedway weekend, Jesse, this actually falls right into the middle of the pack. We like Corey in the spot because he has a 4th place finish at Daytona this year, a 10th place finish at Daytona 500 last year. For bettors who are looking at that crazy wreck that he had in Michigan, I feel you. You might be thinking, oh, okay, well, we don't know how he's going to race this weekend. And I totally get that. But his literal track record shows us that he can hold his own despite the fact that he might be a little bit shaken up from his accident at Michigan earlier in the week.
What about if we aren't looking to put our money on an outright winner? What about a top 5 finisher? Anybody there you're looking at?
I like that question. I'm going to go Martin Truex Jr. at plus 275 to be a top 5 finisher, but caution. I really wanted him as a top 10 finisher, but those odds as of now have not dropped yet, so look out for those. MTJ, top 5 finisher, plus 275. He has a 12th place finish at Atlanta, an 11th place finish at Talladega this year. But more than anything, Jesse, he is a seasoned veteran in the field. And we know that it takes a savvy kind of driver to avoid the wrecks, to avoid the pileups, and to basically use a strategy to have success at this kind of track. If anyone can do it, I think MTJ can. That's why I'm going with him in this spot.
And in his last full-time season, you know he's wanting to do something big at Daytona there. I like that pick. We haven't seen a head-to-head pick, though, a head-to-head battle here in a couple weeks. Do we have one for this week?
We're going to go Kyle Busch minus 125 over Briscoe at plus 105. I know you're thinking, why is she taking the minus side of this? Well, I'm taking it because I like Busch's momentum coming off the 4th place finish at Michigan. I know it's a different kind of track, but it's still momentum nonetheless. And Jessie, I've talked so much in the past few weeks about how drivers who are on the bubble, on the outside looking in, who might miss playoffs have to be aggressive. And Busch is one of those drivers. He has to be aggressive this week. He has a legacy to protect. So I expect for him to come out, put himself together a good race this weekend, and finish ahead of Briscoe.
That legacy, to your point, 11 consecutive playoff appearances for Kyle Busch, the most of any other driver in the field. He does not want to give that up, so I like that, keeping an eye on him at Daytona. Anything else bettors should know, though, heading into this weekend?
I want to make sure that everyone remembers to shop around. There's going to be a lot of variation from one book to the next, but also watch the weather. I am from South Georgia, Jessie, and this part of the country, this time of the year, the weather cannot be trusted. So you got the weather, you got the unpredictability of the race, and then just, again, have fun. Know that you probably are not going to walk away a millionaire in this race, but if you do, my social is at Erica Renee D. You can DM me some cash, but actually you can just watch my bonus bets toward the end of the week. I have some more picks coming for you as we get closer to race weekend.
That's right. Be sure you're keeping up with Erica this week because she'll have some more picks and suggestions coming your way on Thursday. Erica, thank you so much for the time. As always, it is so appreciated. Well, before we head to Daytona this weekend, though, let's take a look back at the action from this race last season.
All the great names in motorsports have won here, like Petty, Jarrett, Earnhardt. It all went down at the World Center of Racing.
Green flags in the air. Back it up. Oh, into the wall hard goes Ryan Blaney off the nose of Ty Gibbs, and the big one happens behind him.
Look for the Fords now to take over this race.
Push coming now for Harvick. Oh, and around goes a couple cars. Priest upside down. He's barrel rolling through the grass. Now, which line will they take through 3 and 4 for the final time? Buescher's going to win at Daytona.
Hell yeah, everybody. Nice job. Nice job.
Chris Buescher, the winner of this race last year. Now, he is above the cut line as we head into this weekend, but you know he's hoping to go out there and do it again and just not even have to worry about what happens at Darlington.
Hey, it's simple as that, but this race is going to be a lot different than what we saw there in February. Maybe not to the eye test, but definitely to these teams. The cars are going to have to handle better. This is usually a little bit more tire degradation. The bottom lane goes away, but we were able to see them RFK teammates control the lanes and win this race and add to their points lead last year and try to punch their way into the playoffs this year.
Yeah, to your point, those RFK drivers both have been incredibly strong on super speedways, so Chris Buescher's definitely one I'm going to be looking at. But when you look at that bubble, is there anyone that you're looking at this weekend to really make some big moves?
The most aggressive guy is the one I'm looking at, and that's Ross Chastain. He looked like he was going to have a great day coming out of Michigan, but had some trouble late, got stuck in the grass. He is looking for redemption with this one team, and with the way the playoff points work and the stage points work, this is going to reward aggression. There is 20 stage points on the line before we even get to the third stage. So somebody's going to go out there, be aggressive, get those stage points, and I think it's going to be that one car.
You know, but then again, aggression is a tricky one on super speedways, right? The margin of error is so small that you never really know. It's kind of a fine line, so we'll have to see. But that's what makes it fun, right?
Absolutely, it's going to be fun. It's not only going to be fun on track, though. It's going to be fun around the track at Daytona. We are going to take you to our At-Tracktion segment next and tell you everything that's going on at the Speedway this weekend.
Less than this ruler determine the winner of the race. You put him in this position, and we're having the conversation today about why did every other crew chief miss the two-stop strategy. This is Formula One racing, this is road course racing, and this is also short track racing.
You've only got to get to here, just over a carway.
Catch NASCAR Inside the Race each week on NASCAR's YouTube channel.
Well, Jessie, as always, there's a lot of fun stuff to do around Daytona International Speedway this weekend. What are you looking forward to on this list?
Well, in looking at the schedule, what stands out to me is pictures with the trophy. You get to get up close with that Coke Zero Sugar 400 trophy. I love seeing all the different trophies at racetracks, so that's definitely something I would check out if I were there.
I'm hoping I get my picture with the trophy on Saturday night in Victory Lane. The Petty family is going to be the Grand Marshals. A lot of fun things, a lot of driver appearances, and always a full list of things at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com. Check it out there. We'll be back with our fantasy picks.
Hey race fans, Corey LaJoy here. Join Ryan Flores and myself for Stacking Pennies each week. I'll break down my race and explain what happened right out of my windshield.
Plus, we award the Dogs of the Week for the best pit crews and go in-depth on all the money stops, pit road mistakes, and penalties.
And we've got a ton of guests. We have SVG stopping by. We had Ricky Stenhouse after he punched Kyle Busch in the face. We've had Bubba. We've had all sorts of guys in here in the Nonsense Garage, so you do not want to miss it. Check us out on Sirius XM Channel 90, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcasts. Each and every week, Stack of Pennies. That's what's up.
All right, looking at this weekend, Daytona fantasy picks. Who you got for your must-have?
When I think of super speedways, I think of two guys, and I don't want to be too much of a homer and go with my teammate Joey Logano, so I'm going with Denny Hamlin. I think he is one of the best super speedway racers of this generation.
I would have to agree with you there. Denny Hamlin, solid pick. My must-have, though, I think you'll like this one. The 12, Ryan Blaney. I think he's been stellar on super speedways. I mean, the statistics say so. He's got some momentum on his side, and I think he's going to be good here with 2 races to go in the playoffs.
I don't like that pick. I love that pick, and I think this is going to be a fuel mileage race, and our gas man, Chris Conklin, is the best on pit road. So I'm excited to get down to Daytona and see how we do. Who is your Hail Mary going into this so crucial speedway race before the playoffs?
Look, I will say, a bit of a disclaimer, this may not sound like much of a Hail Mary, so I do recognize that, but I went with Chris Buescher. He did win this race last year. He knows how to get it done, but he's right there on the cut line, on the bubble. So does he throw a Hail Mary and try to get that win, or does he play it safe? We're going to have to see. What do you think?
Yeah, they're in an interesting spot, but one guy that has to throw a Hail Mary is Kyle Busch, and that's the guy I'm going with. He knows how to execute in these big moments. He's won Cup races. He's won at Daytona, so I think that 8 team, if there's a spoiler, it could be him.
I like both of those picks. I think there's going to be a lot of aggression this weekend, and if anybody knows aggression, it's still Kyle Busch. So
Absolutely, and I am excited to announce that I picked the winner last week because I think Kim went on like a 10-week stretch to start the season where she picked the winner, so I'm happy to say that I was able to pick Tyler Reddick. I was bummed we didn't win, but I was happy he did. But that brings us to our white flag. What do you got this weekend?
Well, I was going to say you're riding high on getting things right, so I'm going to give you some quizzes here and see if you can continue the momentum. Big announcement this week for our sport. The NASCAR Cup Series returning to Bowman Gray Stadium for the first time in over 50 years. Going to be running the Clash there in February. Do you know the last time the Cup Series ran at Bowman Gray?
Oh, I don't know that. Was it like 1959? I don't know.
Is close enough. 1971.
Okay, that's not very close.
Yeah, it's all right, you know. Well, what about this? Can you guess who the last winner was there?
I'm just going to go on a limb and say Richard Petty because I felt like he won everything back then.
Okay, look, that's a very fair guess. Member of the Alabama gang.
Bobby Allison.
There you go.
Dang it, I should have known that. I should have known that. I've raced at Bowman Gray a lot this summer in the old Hillbilly 79. Have had a ton of fun running the modifieds there, and I'm excited to see the Cup cars get back there. Another place that I'm excited to go is Darlington, and you can hear all about it next week at Around the Track. Join us right here to hear everything Southern 500.